Okay, in the last video, I finished up some new additions to my logo and modifying. And we decided that we liked it. We thought it helped support, even though it's kind of finicky and it doesn't read as clearly, really small. The main image of the helmet, and you have kind of the laurel leaves underneath, kind of Greco-Roman symbols. So it all kind of works. So we're going to keep it. We like how everything is. Now we're going to check if everything's clean. I'm going to use the large selection tool, grab all of it, and make sure that all of it works on the gray background without any white showing or without any weird overlap showing. What would weird overlaps look like? They would look like this. So, like extra shapes you made, extra anything. So when you then select it all, you'll see that there's kind of odd things in there. This is all easy to fix. So if there are any whites that are showing, you need to cut those out with the Pathfinder, right? And if there are any overlaps, you can just merge them together. So what I'm going to do is use Pathfinder, which you can find under Window, and use the merge function to blend it all in. And now it is all in one place. It is all one vector. These are the shapes that are separate. I put it back onto the white. It doesn't really matter where on the white or how big on the white, as long as your entire logo is on the what's called the artboard. Then I can save it. And I first save it as my AI. So this is Karl assignment 4, leaf helmet vector AI. Good. I make sure I know where it's saving to. And right now I am saving it to my assignment 4. So I just updated the AI. You see how it now has a little branch underneath it. Now I need to save it in 2 other formats. It's written up on the board here. I need to save it as what are called transferable vector formats. They're all vector formats. They're all perfectly clean, but they're able to be opened by different programs. AI is only able to be opened by Adobe Illustrator. So I want to say File, Save As. I could also do Save a Copy, but then it would put Copy after the name, and I don't need that. And then I'm going to change this to SVG, which is the oldest and most universal form of vector graphic. Stands for Scalable Vector Graphic. I'm going to replace the one I previously had, which didn't have the leaf. And I'm going to use all the defaults. And then I'm going to do File, Save As. Oh, by the way, the reason we needed to fit it all on the artboard is because an SVG will only save what's within the artboard. So if your artboard is huge and your vectors are tiny on it, when you save the SVG, it will save the huge thing. But the artboard is empty space, so it doesn't really matter. Okay, next, we need the type of transferable vector format that is preferred by Adobe programs like Photoshop. And that is the Illustrator EPS format. So we need it as an AI, as an SVG, and as an EPS. And I'll replace the old one, and I'll set all the defaults. With that, I am done with Adobe Illustrator, and I can quit it, as long as I know where my files are. So I'm going to look and see. So I've got my AI here. My SVG is here. You see how that looks really different? That's because SVG in its preview will show you every layer, all the layers that are turned on and off. So in this case, it's showing me my sketch and my finish, right? Even though if I open that up in Illustrator, one would be turned off. The EPS doesn't show a preview icon at all anymore. But both of these are vector formats, and they're transferable vector formats. So I marked them as violet for vector. What I need is to make a new online file format, a PNG, right? That kind of looks like this, but has the branch at the right format for printing. So to do that, I go to Photoshop and I open up Photoshop and I say new file. And I'm going to name it Karl. I'm going to, it'll probably be a little different than what I named it before, but assignment 4 leaf helmet vector. Okay. And I'm going to make it 7.5 inches. Make sure it's inches, not pixels, by 9.5 inches at 350 pixels per inch. Create. It's just a blank pixel grid. Then, very important, I'm going to drag and drop my EPS file onto it. Not my AI, not my SVG, my EPS file, this one. Now let me show you the difference. If I do what I say on the board and I drag and drop this onto a new Photoshop file, it comes in, I can hold down Option, and I can decide what looks best, right? And you want to think of this black rim here as your mat, as this. And the white that's showing is the space within the mat. That will just be white paper. So you get to lay this out. I hold down Option so it centers. Do I want the logo to print like that with the black mat around? Or do I want it to print like that? Or do I want to print like that but use the arrow key to move it up a little bit? Like maybe that's best. Then I hit return. And now it is as clean as it can be at 350 pixels per inch, 7.5 inches by 9.5 inches. But this is the most vital thing. It is a smart object. So that layer, just like a vector shape in Illustrator, or in Photoshop rather, will always scale up perfectly. As long as I don't rasterize it. You never want to rasterize it. Okay, now I'm actually going to make it, I think, a little bit smaller because I have some ideas. So I'm going to hit Command T and then just hold down Option and then shrink it a little bit because I have some ideas for ways of coloring it that might require a little extra space. Now I save this. And I want to make sure that it's a PSD. I'm going to save it to my desktop, right? So PSD, Photoshop format. Very good. And make sure I can see where it is. And I mark this as green because this is, again, a working format. Just to the desktop, yep. So you always know where it is. Okay, now I need to get it turned in for Canvas. So I need to make an online version. So I'm going to turn off the background so it's just an empty grid. So I have my free-floating, clean vector black shapes. And then I'm going to say File, Save a Copy. And I'm going to save that copy as a PNG. Same name to the desktop. That PNG I mark orange for online format. And that is what I put up to Canvas. And since I've added the branches, I'm just going to put it next to it, right? So I have kind of these two versions, right? A logo with the branch, a logo without the branch. So I go to my desktop and I drag and drop that PNG with no background in, and I shrink it down. And there we go. Okay, now the third requirement is to do a color variation on it. Graphic symbols have lots of variations. One of those ways is to add color, right? So I go back to Photoshop. And this is what's so fun. Because it's a smart object, I'll go ahead and turn on the white background again. I'm going to duplicate that smart object, Command J. Turn off the one underneath, keep that as my black smart object. And now on the layer where it's gray, not on the icon, not on the lettering, but where it's gray, I'm going to double left click or double click. That opens up my layer styles. These are what are going to be our vector attributes. So a vector is perfectly clean shapes, right? But its attributes are things like color, texture, drop shadow, edge. So these are the layer styles, and they're going to affect my vector shapes as a smart object. To color it, I'm going to use color overlay, and I'll just set it at its default settings, normal at 100%. So that's just to use it as a stamp with a different color ink, but I get to choose the color ink. So in that little color bar, I might find a green that I like.
Is it layer style and what?
Yep, no problem. So layer styles are all of these attributes.
Where do I go to layer style?
You double click on the gray of the layer, and it will open them up. All right. So then you click on the attribute you want to play with. So I first play with color overlay. It's the most basic. Now color overlay, all of the attributes have options, right? This can get quite involved. And we're going to use this again when we do type design. So that's just a green fill. But maybe I want the green fill, but I want it at only about 50% opacity. So now it's got black with that green, like at 50% on top. And maybe I don't want it on normal mode. Maybe I want it on dissolve mode, which will make it look like construction paper, where the black's coming through and then the green's on top, which is something I like to do usually with vectors. You see how it's still perfectly clean, but then inside it's got that color mix. Okay, so I say okay, but then I can open up layer styles again. And what's nice is all of these attributes just show up as effects on the layer. They can be turned on or off. This is now a color variation. Is it an amazing color variation? Not yet, right? But it's a color variation. That works. That would meet the requirement. But let me play some more. So I'm going to double left click on the gray of the layer. And now I'm going to play with what's underneath color overlay, which is gradient overlay. And I can just turn off color overlay for now. Now, gradient overlay is something I'd like all of you to play with. Doesn't mean you have to include it in your final logo. So I'm going to set it at the defaults, normal 100% opacity, but then here you have your drop down of different gradients. You have your blues, you have your purples, you have your pinks, you have your reds. I'm going to skip right to the greens, right? I'm going to think, what feels like Earth Day? Well, that one feels a little bit like Earth Day. Or maybe this one, or maybe this one, or maybe, I'm going to start with this one. But then you can fully customize all of these. So I click off, and now if I want to play with it, I click on the gradient stripe itself. And now I have a gradient editor. So you have so many options here. It's like programming. So this is a simple gradient from that color to this color. I want to add another color. So I just click on the bar. And in that, I'm going to choose another color. What would be a fun color in there? Maybe like a bluer green. More of a turquoise. That's a little bit deeper and darker. Like that. So I get the hint of, the different seasons. And maybe at the very top, I want to add a color too. So I say, okay, I'm going to move that slider and I'm going to add a new color at the very top. And that color, I'm going to brighten up again and make more like a summery leaf. So not only can you edit the gradient, you can also edit how tight it is or how broad it is with scale. So basically how widely it's distributed. This is a really good way to use gradients because you have so much control and it's just put on as an attribute. So I'm liking that better. And I can play with its opacity, like how much does it affect the black underneath. I'm going to have it affect it, let's say, at 85%. Okay, now I have two attributes here. One is turned off, which is the color overlay, and one is turned on, the gradient overlay. So I can see what it looks like with both of them. So now I have the gradient underneath and that textured green on top. But what if I want to edit it? Well, I can